What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are shooting yet another client interview, and we have Leo from Arizona. Leo, say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Perfect. So as you guys could tell, Leo's in a suit. He is a lawyer, so I got to be careful what I say. Let's dive right into this. Leo, how long have you been with Monopoly?
I have been with you guys since June of last year. So in middle of June, so like June 15th at 22.
Gotcha. Okay, so definitely over a year. And kind of tell me about your experience with us. I want to know the good, the bad, everything.
Sure. So experience is actually quite positive. It is one of those things where it's an internet investment, so it's a little bit scary because it's hard to know what's legit and what's not out there. But you guys have been very responsive. Literally, you're on there 24/7 kind of a response. Well, I guess not really 24/7. It's 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, but it is very responsive, and you guys answer all our questions, so it's really good.
So you're in over a year. You like the responsiveness. Tell me about your experience really with scaling the store. How satisfied are you with your current results?
Actually, quite satisfied. I mean, we're in a situation where we certainly like more returns than we have, but the returns are definitely fair. And I think we're 8.5 or 9% or so profit margin, and we're going to get some more inventory and hopefully increase that to be even better.
So we so I think it was last week when you were asking about what your profit margin is, and I was actually available during that time, and I actually got into your chat and we started chatting. Over this weekend, I actually did a deep dive through your store. Let me go ahead and pull it up for people to see really quick. This is Leo's store. Let me pull up year to date. So let's go back to what you said, June last year.
Right. So we actually started in June, but I think the store didn't have a first sale till like August, because it takes about a month and 5 weeks to get the inventory and into the store.
Yeah,
So
and of course setting up the Amazon store. So your contract started in June. That's when we actually like start engaging working together. Oh wow. Okay. So since August, you started in August, your store started selling, did 356,000 in sales. But of course, as you guys know, sales don't matter, right? Sales is just sales. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, money put in and profit being made. And as I was doing the breakdown of your store, we talked about you started anywhere between $50,000 and $75,000 for inventory. I believe you kind of started with 50, and then later you increased it up to 75. Does that sound about right?
it is. We just accepted all your purchase orders and it over a period of time. So yeah.
So I ran the numbers from start, from was it August to now. Your store did about 27,000 in profit. That's the store, almost 28,000 since the weekend. And after split, you are in a 60-40 split. So after split, about 16,700, almost 17,000. If you look at that with the start, if you started with just 50K, your annual return on 12-month basis is about 30%. If you started with 75,000, that would make it at 20% annual. But of course, you kind of started with 15, then you added a little bit more as we went through the journey as you started growing. And now really the only thing that's left to do is constantly to add more working capital.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when I first asked you, how was the start? You kind of said it was scary because it's an online business. Tell me more about that.
Well, there's a lot of folks out there on the internet that are promising a lot of, well, just a lot of unsubstantiated stuff. And it's hard to say who's actually going to deliver and who's just going to just take your money and run. But I spent quite a bit of time, spoke to several other companies, but in the end, your videos, Vlad, seem to be the most credible, and you seem to be pretty earnest and pretty comfortable with what's going on and how you do it. And it turned out to be correct and true. So I rolled the dice and turned out okay.
So basically, the reason it was scary is just because it's an online business.
To a great extent, because you can't really, it's hard to do due diligence when you're buying something like this, because it's not a physical thing, right? It's just out there. It's an Amazon store, but in the end, you're relying, it's a leap of faith. You're relying on the integrity and the professionalism and the experience of a team that you never met. And, but you guys come across very well, and you've delivered. So
I went through your chat, and you actually, so you take advantage. So a lot of people don't know this. Even the current clients you guys are watching, we have this feature where if you have questions, guys, and it doesn't make sense in a text, you can hop on a Zoom just like this with your employee. Talk about that experience, Leo, because I noticed you've done that more than once.
Right. So every once in a while, when I have questions that it's just, because it's a business that I'm not very familiar with. In fact, never sold anything on Amazon besides my experience here with Enopoly. So whenever I want to talk to you guys, I just request a conference, and I get a Zoom call, and there's like 4 or 5 team members on there, and everybody explains what's going on very in depth and completely, it answers all my questions. And in the end, it's the spreadsheets and the numbers and the sales that kind of backs it up. So it's not just talk.
Yeah, 100%. So that's what we implemented over the past year and a half. One of the main things I was focused on is the client communication, because no matter what happens in this business, there's downsides, right? There's products like, for instance, I'm sure you've had products that didn't work out, right?
We have. Sometimes you have to sell it at a loss, but in the great scheme of things, when you got a big mix, some items you sell for a lot of profit, and sometimes some items you sell for a small loss. But there's still overall there's still a profit.
Absolutely. And the reason, no matter what happens, as long as the communication is on point, and for instance, like if you have questions, you're not understanding something, like the fact that you can request, you set up a meeting with your team on a Zoom where they can go in depth and everything. I think that's really important to just be able to, increase your confidence, right? Because number one thing, what makes us, me and you, the money is you spending money on inventory. And that's what increases the comfortability of a client, is the client's ability to just simply request a meeting, get an update, and get an in-depth breakdown of what's going on in the store, between the invoices, between all the spreadsheets. Because when you look at the spreadsheet overall, you're seeing an 8% over like a whole grand scheme of things, but it's based on the total volume sold. It's not based on what you actually started with, because we're using the same money over and over and over again.
I did, and I was asking you about that as well a week ago or so.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. You're seeing that, like, if you started throughout, like if we weren't using the same money over and over again, yes, it would be at an 8% over total grand scheme of things. But because we're constantly flipping your money, it's like real estate, kind of what I explained. We would take whatever you started with or whatever you even add in down the road, and we just flip it. It's like flipping a house 3 or 4 times a year. It's the same money that we're using over and over again. So really that percentage increases by a lot. And that's how you're hovering right around in the 20s to 30% annually. And as before we even started this interview, we're talking about that outperforms real estate investments, that outperforms stock market index funds, and really anything out there that's like a traditional investment that's not super high risk. We're outperforming that. Leo, what's your recommendation for the newest client coming into Enopoly? Can you give them any tips, tricks, or anything like that?
Well, first of all, trust you guys, and you guys have a great onboarding team, and you guys have a very kind of set process, and you help a great deal. You definitely want to have liquid cash that you don't have to. You're in a better position if you start and you have liquid cash that you don't have to borrow. Because borrowing obviously has an expense to it, an interest expense, and so I know you guys have recently gone to this accredited model where most of your clients have to have a certain amount of money, but that really would help if you didn't have to borrow the money. So that would be otherwise prove all the invoices and the POs that Enopoly sends, because you guys do your homework before the POs are sent out, and you know exactly who else is selling these items and what the inventory levels are and if they're about to sell out. And so you guys pick the pricing just right, and so trusting the process and the Enopoly team is my advice.
Awesome. And guys, Leo is a lawyer, so like if you don't take his advice, I don't know who you guys could trust at this point. Not using your credibility for anything. Just you got the suit on, so I got to say something.
Right. I haven't been paid for this endorsement, so yeah.
Well, awesome, Leo. I definitely appreciate your time hopping on this interview and giving your take on your experience with us. Those of you guys that are interested in more information, you know what to do. There's going to be a link down below. Go ahead and submit an application and book a call to speak with us to see if this is the right fit for you. Other than that, have a great day.